all, I just want to follow up with some of the comments that Mike and Phyllis both made, and it's very important, and I want to emphasize it because this year we were very successful in the General Assembly of getting some of the legislation killed, as we would say, the bad legislation not to move forward because of the efforts throughout the state of Virginia, and especially with our members on the Board of Supervisors. And it's very important. That's one of the key points this year that I've been trying to emphasize is communication among our localities and especially to our board members, because it's very difficult for us to get the information. I've asked staff to try to streamline it, give us bullet points to use, and it's been highly successful. The message that I've gotten from, especially with the Speaker and other members of the General Assembly is, if you don't have to be here, if you pick the phone up and call us or if you email us, it's very important. And we want to hear from the elected officials. And I've heard it time and time again, a lot of times it gets old news when they see Mike Edwards constantly coming up there to the committee meetings and telling us what they don't want. They'd rather hear from the elected officials and like to hear from citizens. They really do. They are fully aware of our staff, and they know our staff is very knowledgeable, but they really want to hear from us. So I'm going to continue to emphasize that you have to contact and communicate with your members of the General Assembly, and especially when those alerts come out during the General Assembly session. So keep the good work up and make sure you continue to communicate with your county and you as an individual as we move forward. And like I said, that's been one of the main emphasis I have, is trying to emphasize communication this year because it is very important. We need to be able to communicate better throughout the state of Virginia. As far as Isle of Wight County is concerned, I'm going to just briefly go over a few of the things that is major emphasis to us. And Don, I think, did you pass this out? Okay, everybody? It's a sheet that Don Robinson passed out. And if you don't have one, let Don know. And it's, he had the agenda on the front, and then on the second paper is the VACo regional meeting. It says April 16th. The first thing is, of course, is what we call the unfunded mandates, and we all know about it. And of course, we know we can't handle unfunded mandates, and that's been a big thing. And I want to let you know, one of the things that Governor McDonald has, and when I met with him, and I've had the opportunity not only to meet with Governor McDonald, but Lieutenant Governor Bowling, and also to meet with the Speaker of the House. And that's one of the other things in the communication program, is to try to reach out and make sure we talk with the leadership more often throughout the year as far as the leaders of VACo. And as president, that's what I've been trying to do, to let them know we're here to work with you. A lot of times what they hear from VACo is that what we don't want and not coming up with solutions. So our whole objective this time has been to step forward and say, look, we're here to work with you. We're going to partner together, because when it boils down to it, we all represent the same citizens. And the citizens is the ones who will have to pay the price, and that means in increased taxes. And so we need to come to a common ground and be able to work together and help each other out. Now, Governor McDonald he campaigned on not pushing down unfunded mandates to localities. And actually, he's been holding true to that. There's some issues that's come up, but he wants to hear from us. He says that if there's any kind of unfunded mandates that's coming up, to contact him immediately. And that's some of the things we've been working with his staff on that, and it's been very successful. And I look at it continue to be successful as he moves on in his term. The next one is this land use legislation. As you know, that's been a major issue that's been impacting us. It comes up every year, and it's something that we have to fight. When we talk about the General Assembly says that we've got the tools to use to manage the land use issues. That's not the problem. The problem is when the General Assembly comes in and puts laws in, legislation in, to take away from those tools. And we have those every year. It's just a gamut of them. It's a lot of them. That runs from one thing to another, and our staff has to stay on top of it. But we've actually had, it was last session, not this session, but last year when we had one that came up at the last minute. And we didn't even know anything about it, and we ended up getting it defeated. Luckily, we ended up defeated. The next one, machinery and tools, I think that impacts all of us in this locality. Southampton is not as much, but y'all do have machinery and tools. But the rest of the machinery and tools tax is a major issue for our localities. It's a big revenue generator. And we need to stay on top of this one. This is not going to go away. I'm going to tell you folks, it's not going to go away. It's been presented in different forms for the last 3 or 4 years that I know of, and maybe longer. And as you know, if you track the history of legislation, as long as it keeps getting put up, within 5 or 6 years, it eventually gets passed in some form. So we need to be aware of this one. This one was to eliminate any new machinery and tools tax. So if you had a business that came in after July 1 of this year, you couldn't charge a machine and tools tax. And what it would do was eliminate what you currently have through a process over, I think it was either 5 or 10 years, it varied, depending on what, who you were talking to. But keep that in mind, we just need to make sure that that's a major one. Equal taxing authority, this is another one we talk about, it's a big thing for VACo. As president this year, due to the economy and everything, we focus on the meals tax. We were successful in the Senate due to Senator Quayle and his efforts. We weren't as successful in the House. When we met with the Speaker, Speaker Howell, I have to say he didn't say he was against it, but he didn't say he was for it. And usually he could kill it before it gets anyway. And I know Billy Kay knows about that, and Rob and both of you know the Speaker, he just has to say anything. And his whole point was when he made the comment, he said, "But I can't control legislation. I can't defeat legislation. I can't kill it." But of course, we know the political aspect of it. He did tell us it was left up to us and how we had to lobby the committee. And we've got, what, 2 votes this year? 3? We were very successful in that effort, if you can. But I think that's something we have to continue to work at. And that's some of the things that we will as we move on with the General Assembly. But the Equal Taxing Authority is one of the things, and most of our citizens do not understand that. And I think every one of our counties have got towns. When a town can have tobacco tax, and the town can have a lodging tax, and what was the other tax? I just went blank. Meals tax. Yeah, and their meals tax rate, those of us that had referendums, we'll max that at 4%. Cities and towns is unlimited. They can have whatever they want. And I think the city of Virginia Beach in their proposal, they're raising theirs this year like 2 cents, and I think that's what they're going to raise their meals tax. That's all they have to do. A lot of your towns and your cities, they already talked, they're going to raise their meals tax. And then the tobacco tax is one of the other things that they're going to raise, and we don't have that opportunity. So that's very important. Transportation is last, but we all know about transportation. And of course, if you kept up on it, it all impacts every one of us in this room. The governor is 460. He mentioned it when he was campaigning. When he first came in office, that was his #1 transportation project. And now he's back on the table talking about it. So we will be hearing a lot about it, and hopefully all of us will be staying in contact and stay in touch on that. Any questions? Thank you.